Hey folks, Benjy here. So recently we posted a video on this YouTube channel for kind of the older demographic of the 28, 30 plus year old age range of single candidates who are wanting to get blessed and matched but are feeling a bit discouraged and also just not sure how to proceed. And I want to make this video specifically for the other folks who are on the other side of the spectrum, the young guns, the 18, 19, 20, 21, 22-year-old, the younger folks who really are excited about the blessing, want to get matched and blessed, but at the same time are not sure if you're ready or maybe society and the way that things are going, right, or the people around you are saying maybe you're too young or you should focus on other things first, focus on your school, focus on your career. You're too young to get blessed. I want to address this and specifically from my perspective of someone who was blessed young, comparatively young to the rest of my peers in age range, but also as an individual who has helped many people go through the matching process from 18, 17 years old and even younger. And this is really key. And the three things I want to talk about today are very key to understand before you go into a matching process and get blessed. I'm going to be talking about your vision for your life, having a clear vision. I'm going to be talking about ownership and having ownership over different elements of your life. And I'm going to be talking about sexual integrity. And the reason I'm going to be talking about these is because I can't overemphasize enough that this feeling you have to want to get blessed, this desire you have, it is beautiful. It is incredible and should be celebrated. And I'm so happy you're here. All right. It is something that is completely natural. And it is a beautiful time of your life at this very prime age to want to be in a relationship, that desire to want to contribute to something bigger than yourself, to begin your blessed life and your family together. I think this is a very critical time in your life, and it shouldn't be put down. You shouldn't be discouraged to feel like you want to be blessed. This is a beautiful thing. And I can't overemphasize that. I've been through that myself. I went through it. But the reason that I'm talking about these three things is because unless you can get these things figured out right now, then they'll come up later in a more disastrous kind of way. And specifically talking about your vision for your life, all right? Many times you'll hear people like, oh, you have to have your career set, you have to be a graduate from university, you have to have, X, Y, and Z, and you have to be making this amount of money before you start marriage, et cetera, et cetera. All of that is valid. It's a valid consideration. However, the reality is anybody that gets married does not have all their entire career and income and in their work, everything figured out. I didn't. Many people don't. The reality is that the way that our careers develop is that as we are blessed, as we're in a relationship, we kind of form things as we go, and it develops kind of step by step, and we can kind of create our life and our work situation together as a couple and as a family. That's a very important part of being married. However, it becomes an issue when we kind of pigeonhole or focus too much on career and work and not enough on our own preparation and our own desire that you have to be in a relationship. And what ends up happening is you keep putting it off for years and years. It's like, oh, after I graduate, oh, after I go to grad school, oh, after I work in the field for X amount of years, then I'll be able to start a matching process and the blessing. And by that time, you might be 24 or 30 years old, who knows? And that's the current, the conventional wisdom that we're going to. However, I really want to make a point that our ability, your ability as a human being to balance both work and family and career and your marriage, your blessing, all at the same time is something that we're all designed to do. We're all designed with that innate ability to balance that. We've been doing it for all of human history. And it's only until the last 50 or so years, 50 to 100 years, that there's been a shift in priority to focusing more on career and making money and making basically an infinite amount of money before we even consider, or other considerations as well, before we even consider having a family and being married. So I don't want to discredit your belief or your desire to be blessed. I felt it myself, and it's truly a beautiful thing that God has given. It's a truly natural thing. So the vision, what is really important for your career and your vision is that you have some kind of vision in your life. You don't have to have everything figured out. Yeah, you don't have to know exactly what you're gonna do after you graduate university, or if you're gonna go to university, you have to know exactly what kind of career or you're going to be going, or where you're going to live, or all that kind of stuff. If you have a general idea of where you want to go, or general kind of skill set that you have that you want to develop, and importantly, that you're taking the steps right now, you're using your time and your focus right now as a stepping stone to get you in that direction. That's what's important, is are you taking the steps Are you making decisions right now that will impact your long-term vision and career? And then a vision that is ideally, bigger than just, your own self and your own satisfaction, something that you can contribute to the world and help other people through, as well as make a living for yourself. So that's really what I want to get to in terms of vision. But not only career-wise, do you have a vision? This is really important when you're considering being in a relationship, and really what makes you a very qualified person, even if you're young, to be in a relationship, right? Is, do you have a strong vision for what kind of family you want to create? Do you have a strong vision for what kind of marriage, what kind of blessing you want to have? How do you want to raise your children? What kind of contribution do you want to make to your local community, to your church, to your society, to the world, and to God? What kind of person do you want to be? What kind of a husband or wife do you want to be, or a mother or father, or eventually grandparent do you want to be? If you can, the stronger you can have that vision in your mind, the easier and simpler it will be to express that vision to your matching partner, your spouse, and to your parents as well, going through this process, and find that person and build that vision together and make it a reality. This is a very vital thing. So that's number one, is having a vision, especially regarding your career. You don't have to, the point I'm saying is you don't have to have all the ducks in a row, but just having a general trajectory that you're on, a general path that you're on to get there, and making sure that you're taking the steps that you need, that are required in order to get where you want to go. That's the important thing. The second really important thing to mention, if you're in the younger demographic and not sure if you're ready or you should consider this, is regarding your ownership. I know ownership is a word that we throw around, and we don't really know how to use it, but ownership really is it's like responsibility 2.0. It's like responsibility on another level. How able are you to take ownership of every aspect of your life, from school to work to your involvement in your church, in your family? Basically meaning that, are you able to make decisions on your own and have confidence in your decisions that and the things that you're bringing to school, to work, to your family, to your faith community, to your church? Or are you just kind of going along for the ride? Are you just kind of following what your parents tell you to do, or what society tells you to do? Or are you able to really stand your ground and have a firm belief in what you believe in and fight for that? And if you're able to do that, then you have a certain level of ownership over your life, and that you can take that into your blessing in your marriage. This is critical when it comes to the blessing. Your blessing is when you receive a blessing, your relationship that you build with your partner is your responsibility from there on out. It is your responsibility to deepen that relationship, to invite God into that relationship and build it. And if you don't have a solid sense of responsibility in your life and ownership of your life, then it's very difficult to build that foundation of ownership and responsibility in your marriage and your blessing. Do you find yourself often complaining about school? You find yourself often complaining about your work or your boss or your family? Then that's a good sign that you don't really have a firm grasp or responsibility and ownership over that area of your life. But if you can generally find yourself able to be moving forward, or to take things that you don't like or dislike and change it, whether it's with your family, with your work, or with your school, or whatever you're involved with, and change it and make it better, then that means you are an owner, and that means that you have a certain level of responsibility in your life, right? A good indicator of someone that is responsible is someone who can, pay their own bills, who can, has a job, is able to keep a job, more importantly. And basically, what I'm getting to is I'm trying to basically create the opposite of, a guy living in his mom's basement playing video games all day, right? If you're not that, and then you're in a good track, right? Of course, ownership is a massive topic. It's a lot more than just taking responsibility. It's just about how excited are you about your life? How excited are you about taking every day of your life and making the best out of it, instead of just going with the flow, instead of just work, school, come home, play video games, or just goof around online, but actually use your free time. This is a really good indicator that you have a lot of ownership. Is in your free time, when no one's watching, what do you do with that time? Do you spend that time goofing around, doing things that are unproductive for you and unhealthy for you? Or do you use that time to create something, to build something, to work on your vision that we just talked about, to start a business, to make an impact, to contribute and invest in your church community, to be a youth pastor? If you can spend your free time that you have focusing on those things, that's a very good indicator that you have a certain level of ownership and responsibility. Again, I'm mentioning these three things because I'm trying to help paint a picture of the person that you can be, and make sure that you're on the right path, because it's kind of like, when you're young and, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 years old, and you are not sure if you're ready for the blessing or anything like that. in the end, it's really up to you to decide if you're ready, but these are kind of helpful indicators or helpful milestones and benchmarks to help you figure out if you are ready for this. And chances are, if you can get these three things in order, then you are, my friends, in a very good space. The third thing I want to talk about, and this is actually, I think, arguably the most important thing, right, is your sexual integrity. Okay, here we go. So sexual integrity is your ability to have control and mastery over your sexual urges and your sexual energy, and conduct your sexuality and your sexual energy in a productive and proactive way, as opposed to in a destructive and harmful way to yourself and to the people around you. The prime example of a destructive sexual habit would be pornography, having an ongoing relationship with pornography, or of course physical sexual relationships, and masturbation, right? Amongst other things like fantasizing, but these are kind of key indicators. It's like, do you have an addiction to pornography or an ongoing unwanted bad habit with pornography that you've tried to kind of kick before and kick to the curb, but you just haven't had success? What we found over and over with the BFM and also the work we do with High Noon is we help young men and women take a porn habit, or take themselves from just feeling really low energy, really using a lot of their sexual energy and urges in a very unproductive way, and getting them to have true self-control and mastery and integrity and character to the point where they actually feel qualified and ready to receive the blessing. And what we found, that once you can get this area of your life in check, once you can get your sexual integrity to a place where you have control over your urges, over your mind, over your energy, over your emotional state throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the months, if you can do that, then you are actually very, very close. You are, one of the most qualified, if not the most qualified individuals to be in a relationship, right? And if you ask yourself this question, why did God, this is something I struggled with so much growing up. It's like, I read at one point that a human being's strongest sexual drive is from the age 14 to 21 years old. 14, 21 years old is when we have the strongest sex drive in our entire life, that 7-year period, right? And I also read, True Father said that 7-year period, the 14 to 21 period, is the completion stage of our life. And by the end of that period, we should be completed and matured individuals, right? So I kicked myself asking this question and even like asking God and being upset, like, why, God, do I have the strongest sex drive of my entire life during the same period that we're supposed to be saving ourselves for marriage and working on ourselves? Why is that? It almost seems like a trick, like a practical joke by God, right? He's like, all right, give them the sex drive and hormones and all that, and then make them also, at the prime time where they're supposed to be preparing for the blessing, right? In God's ideal sense of when we're supposed to prepare for marriage. And so I asked God, like, why is it? So ask yourself right now, why is it that we are like that? Human beings are like that. And I've asked a lot of people that question, theologians, professors, people that I really, really respect and trust a lot. And my conclusion after a few years of asking this question is that God gave us these hormones and sex drive during this time for us to develop self-mastery, for us to develop self-control, mind and body unity, so that we can have control over this area of our life, so that we can bring our fullest self, our most wholesome self, our completely matured self, or as much as possible, into our blessing, into a relationship, into this matching process. And that's the opportunity here for you regarding sexual integrity. If you can get this area of your life in check, if you can get mastery over your sexual integrity, over your sexual urges, over your focus, your mind, your focus, then you will be the top. True Father said you can dominate. If you have dominion over your sexuality, you can dominate the world. You can do absolutely anything. And that includes creating a smashing marriage, blessing, and family in your life. All right. So I wanted to leave you with those three things again. Have a vision for your life. Have a clear direction of where you want to go. It doesn't have to be perfectly clear, but you have to at least make sure that you're constantly moving in that direction and taking the steps you need to go to get to that, to be the person you want to be and to do the things that you want to do. And if you have that vision, then it's infinitely more easier to have conversations with someone and find someone that shares a similar kind of vision and desire you have in your life. Okay. And then the second one is to have responsibility and ownership over your life, different aspects of your life. How much are you able to just sit down and take ownership and get excited about the things in your life? Or are you kind of just like going with the flow and just complaining about my teacher and my professor and my church is this and my community is this and my parents are that, or are you able to take ownership of that and try to make it better, improve things so that you can be happier, right? And the third thing is sexual integrity, having character around your sexuality. If we think about it like this, your sexuality is one of the most important things that you bring into your relationship. Because a blessing in marriage, the only thing that's really truly exclusive in that relationship is the intimacy and connection between you two. So what you bring into that marriage is your integrity, your sexuality, and your intimacy and your connection. And if you can bring the entire being into there, then you're in good sense. So the next question is, how do you actually go about doing these 3 things that I mentioned? That's the big question. Well, the good news is we have a process just for you. Number 1, you should get started. I don't care how old you are. I don't care if you're even 16 years old. If you're 16 years old, I would really encourage you to actually get started, become a qualified matching candidate, and then to take the steps from there. And by the time you go through the process of becoming a qualified matching candidate for the blessing, then I think you'll learn a lot more about yourself especially regarding these points that I've mentioned. And then you'll be a lot more aware of what the matching process actually is and how to actually go about finding someone. But just get started. You can start right now getting ready for the matching and blessing. You can. And I promise you, as you take the steps and as you get ready, then you'll learn more about yourself and you'll figure out as you go, like, how ready am I really, or am I going to wait a few years or something like that, all right? So go to matchnet.us. You can join MatchNet today. And that's our premier program where it's going to take you step by step how to become a qualified matching candidate and set you up to get matched and blessed, okay? So the other thing you should do regarding sexual integrity, you have to check out the organization highnoon.org. It's an organization run by blessed families, and their whole thing is they're the sexual integrity people. And if this is an area that you need to work on in your life, which according to our statistics it is, then you should head over to highnoon.org and you join a program, join one of the groups. It's really just a wonderful group of people that are willing to take you along on that journey, okay? So check out matchnet.us to join MatchNet and join highnoon at highnoon.org. Okay, if this video is helpful, please share it around with people that you love, and also check out the other videos on the channel. Check out the other videos that I think you will find really enlightening and inspiring. All right, thanks for watching. God bless. Take care.